What's going on, everyone? Happy New Year and welcome back to the channel. So, I'm going to actually talk about goals for this year and then also kind of talk about what I saw as of last week, the past couple of days. Okay, so my personal goal, I'm working on the Express account. My personal goal is to get the Express account to over 2,000, and anything over the 2,000 basically we'll just start withdrawing. I'm one of the ones that has been grandfathered into the Express account, so I can do multiple withdrawals as long as I don't lose the Express account. So what I'll look at as a whole, we've been pretty good for the most part. I really struggled around Thanksgiving, struggled a little bit around Christmas, but my goal is to just not give it back, and so risk less. This was this week. And then even looking back on the 31st, which once again, break of structure, confirmation and downside, should be more patient. Looking back at this trade too, we'll look at this trade that happened on the 31st too, and I can show you exactly why I journaled this more so than everything else. And then as of this week, just getting back in the swing of things. So looking at the charts, we're going to go here. One thing I'm looking at, and this is kind of why I struggled right on this day, and once again I still ended up green. We broke through a monthly level, right? And my goal going forward into this year is actually going to be doing better with the top-down analysis piece of it. Meaning, once we have monthly levels, monthlies are stronger than weeklies, weeklies are stronger than dailies, right? Dailies are stronger than the hourlies, and so on. And so I need to look at whenever we get into these November levels, or not November, but monthly levels, really respect it. And so what happened was we consolidated for a good maybe hour or so in the morning, and me anticipating it. What ended up happening is immediately when the market opened, we rallied up. Me not being patient, right? I got in immediately, and then we had this push down. And so I need to be better at that. But if we go back here and we just look at what's happening when we get to monthly levels, right? So this is another one right here. Let's actually go to that 31st actually trade, because I want to talk about that. So this happened in the morning time, right? And why I struggled with this day in particular is because I hit my daily drawdown, but we came down, we consolidated a little bit, and we consolidated between the weekly and then also the monthly level, and then we finally broke the monthly level, and then we dumped. I mean, we for the most part, from the open all the way down on NQ is about 240 points, right? And we consolidated. So one thing that I'm going to be focusing on more this year is, doing better at marking my monthly levels and respecting that. That same situation kind of happened here. If you look at it from Friday's trade, right, we broke through the same area, right, the monthly level when we opened. This was your opening range here, and we just spent time consolidating, unfortunately, right? There were times in trades where you would see this breakout happen here. We would touch the opening range, and then we would rally up. So now that we are hopefully getting out of the holidays and things like that, hopefully we're going to see a little bit more consistency in regards to market and how it moves, right? But this is what took me out of that. If I was a little bit more patient, right, you could have gotten here and caught a 200 and something point move with a one on MNQ. That's about 400 points. And then with NQ itself, I mean, risking the bottom right here, that would have been about $4,000 or so. Okay. That's, I mean, the beauty of it, right? Looking back at the trades as a whole, I'm going to do a better job at this. Just being a little bit more patient with monthly levels, being a little bit more patient with weekly levels too. And once we break out of certain monthly levels, just trying to anticipate where it's going, right? And then creating your opening range, creating your highs and lows, and trying to continue the trend. If we go back, right, and this is kind of why I love backtesting. So let's just go randomly into just other times here. So obviously you have December, but look how everything kind of responds to the different monthly levels, right? Once we get down to it and back and forth, right? So this is November. I'm just going to keep going back because I usually mark mine, right? Let's go back here, right? So this is July, right? So once again, this is kind of why I reflected on 2024 and just really want to kind of get to a place of just like, all right, understanding it, right? So at the end of the day, this was July, this monthly level that we broke through. right? This is in December. All right. So we broke through it at 4 a.m. in the morning time. We came here and then we know where we're going, right? Once you create your different levels, we know where we're going. We know that we're trying to target the next monthly level or the high or whatever the case is, right? And so you could have seen that, right? Marked it, and then your opening range would have been this big. This is, obviously New York Open, but this would have been your range right here when the market opened. But once you know that, let me actually do this real quick. So once you know that we've broken this, that's really it. And then if you're using anchor VWAPs, you can kind of see that the anchor kind of bounces out immediately. So you could have got in immediately up here. You could have gotten up here. The difference between this right on the second versus I'll show you the next day or the day from Friday is that the opening range and left immediately. So if you would have seen that, okay, we got away from July's monthly level, right? We're now going to uptrend because this is a monthly level, and I'm realizing more and more. Excuse me. I'm realizing more and more that when we break above or break below monthly levels, we usually fall, right? Or we usually rally. And so this could have been your sign, right? And then from there, you could have just waited, right? And if you would have hypothetically caught this here, and that's about 80 points. There's another 160, and then this was obviously one of the days where we had a really good rally. Excuse me. But that's what I'm going to be better at this time around, right? If you would have waited to 7:45, those of you guys that have time, right, you could have cut back right here, and then there you go. You have 100 points. Once again, with a 2, that's $200. With doing NQ as a whole, right, there you go. There's about $2,000 or so, right? And so the difference between this and this is what I'm seeing more and more with this right here, right, versus let's go to Fridays, is that you see that we're just sitting on that range right here. Like we're sitting on it. Whereas on the second, you saw that we broke above it. We were above it right here. We weren't even on it. And so now looking at this now is anytime we break another monthly structure, if we are far away from it, I'm going to, utilize that as an indicator. But if we're on it, I got to be a lot more patient because this was an example, same situation, right? We were on it. If you draw your opening range right here, once again, here's your opening range. If you draw your anchor VWAP right here, right, you see that we were in it the whole entire time. We really didn't leave it compared to the other one I showed you, right, over here. We were in it the whole entire time on the second. All right. And so those are the things, the subtle differences. And if I was a little bit more patient, you could have gotten in here versus there. So my goal going into this year is just be a little bit more patient. Also try to mark the monthly levels and respect those too. Last year in 2024, I did a really good job in minimizing losses, catching most moves and stuff like that. The goal this year is to be better at keeping my bigger time frame levels on there, right? I have a bad habit sometimes of clearing everything out, but if I can know that we're at, for example, November's monthly level and we have a break above it or a break below it next week, then you can get an indication of what's going to happen and then just being a little bit more patient. And so my goal going into this year is going to be risking less. Once again, I might trade MNQ more consistently and then just wait for breakouts to happen versus NQ, at least until the market kind of stabilizes. I want us to, just kind of go from there. But things I took away from last year was just more discipline, minimizing risk, and then more patience. This right here is an example of me not being patient. I could have done two things, right? I see that we broke above the monthly level. I could have said, you know what, wait for a pushback down here, and then potentially took a trade here for 90 points. And I want to show you guys how this all works too, right? So if, for example, let's say you are being a little bit more patient and we do buys right about here, right? We see this, right? You would have to risk, and this is trading NQ, right? But if you would have to risk, for example, $845 to make a potential of right here, if you're at the high, about $1,800, right? If you're doing, MNQ, then you're risking basically, $84 to make about $200, right? And so the goal ultimately is going to be risking less this year. If I can risk less, right, you'll save more, you'll make more, you'll be able to catch bigger moves. And so, and then here's the beauty of if you're trading MNQ, if you're trading MNQ, right, then to get this whole move right here, you have to risk about $180, right, to be in it the whole entire time. And then if you hold it the whole entire time, you make, 200 $200, give or take $300, depending on how many contracts you have, right? And so my goal is going to be risking less, right, more so than everything else. And then once again, respecting these bigger levels. I think this is something that a lot of us fail to do and forget to do, because we are obviously day trading. But my focal point is being better at that. A lot of my trades, once again, looking back at it right here, when you can see that we break and what happens when we break these different levels, it's crazy, right? Here's another one right here, that happened in November, right? We didn't break out right here. We didn't break out to the upside. We came down, right? These are 2 monthly levels right here. And so as soon as I see this, I should be at a place of like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm thinking downside. And if you look at it also, once again, from here to here, there's about 170 points, right? And then we consolidate, for the rest of the day. But there we go, right? But I need to see what happens here. A lot of times the market opened here, right? And I'm not patient. So here's a prime example. Market opens right there, right? We have a push up, we have possibly a push down, and then we have a dump. And so when we get to these monthly levels, we need to be a little bit more patient. And then if we're anchoring, obviously, our opening range, then you can kind of just wait, right? So a better entry might have been here, right, at 8:30, but you would have to wait 2 hours for it, right? And that's where it goes back to what I'm saying with the patience piece of it. And so if I wait here, then now I take this one trade right here, and there's about 160 points, right? And that's the beauty of that one. So if you take that trade, once again, to the downside, very similar setup. So if you take that trade to the downside, let me see, and we take it off here, there we go. All right, stop loss, we go 50%. So same as I think if you're doing MNQ, take profit here, another monthly level. So look at this, right? We break through 2 monthly levels, we close below, we consolidate, and there we go. We did go monthly level to monthly level. And this is what I've been doing a terrible job at. And so if you did MNQ, there you go. You're risking $95, give or take, right? And then once again, your profit is about almost $300. And so those little subtle things make a huge difference. And then you can always, once you get here, you can always add, right, to make it a little bit more consistent. And so my goal going into this year is going to be respecting these monthly levels, understanding too that monthly levels, right, understanding the strength of it, right. And I'm not going to say it's 100%. Well, what I am going to say is 60%, 70%, 80%. I'd rather take those chances, right. And so if I am seeing a monthly level or a weekly level, be a little bit more patient just to kind of see what it does, and then wait for re-entries, right. And so this is another amazing example. If you want to be technical with it, this is another amazing example right here of what happens, right. This would have been a fake breakout to the upside, knowing me. Let's go look back at this trade. Actually, you know what? Look at it in the time, but this would have been a fake breakout right here. All right. We don't really leave that range. And then what happens is we dump between monthly level, come back between another monthly level, and we dump to the other monthly level. And that's literally all that happened that day. And so if you can catch that, right, then we have better chances. Here's another example. Okay. Right. Without even kind of looking at anything else, any other levels, this is why I said I need to do better, right? This is another day too. This was a terrible day. I remember this day like it was yesterday, right? Terrible day because we were just in a range of consolidation. And if you really look at it, what it was is we were just consolidating between 2 monthly levels. That's it, right? Just between 2 monthly levels. And then we finally made a decision at some point. And so those are the little things. And then here we go, right? November, this was the 27th. We finally break below a monthly level. And once you see this happen, Here's your opening range again for, there we go. Once you see this happen, there we go. Monthly level, guess what we're targeting? We're trying to go to another monthly level potentially, right? And if you would have caught this, there we go. You have a monthly level to another monthly level. And so I need to see this more consistently. It's like once we cross it, be okay with, getting in, waiting for some type of continuation. But there we go. If you would have gotten in, give or take here, there's 100 points, 163 points, right? And we broke through another monthly level. And so that's what I'm gonna focus on. Being a little bit better at the higher levels, going down to the weekly levels, daily levels, and then obviously doing your smaller time frame stuff. And I'm going to be posting more. I'm going to challenge myself to actually post more this year, and see if it helps anybody out. But that's pretty much it. You guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching this video. And as always, if you guys have any questions, don't forget to comment or like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.